In this video, I'm going to unbox and assemble this T16 electric bike from Tamobyke. But before we get started, a link to this bike is above and also in the description. Please like and subscribe, and let's get after it. In this box here is the toolkit. This is what you'll use to assemble the bike. There's a lock in here, there's pedals, and in this box here is the charger for the battery. You can see the bike is packaged pretty well. I'm going to start taking the foam pieces off. The keys for the battery are located here. This is the air pump for the tires. This is the kickstand. I'm going to use the keys to unlock the battery from the frame, and then you simply push up, the battery will remove. And you can see the specs for the battery are right here, 48 volts, 15.6 amp hour. Pretty impressive battery. I'm going to get this charging. This is the headlight. The headlight looks pretty cool. First thing we're going to do is install the handlebars. We're going to open up the box and get out the toolkit. And you're going to see these nice T-handle hex wrenches. This makes the installation very easy. There's three different sizes. There's 5mm, 4mm, and 3. This is mostly for the handlebars or the screen. These will be used to assemble the stem. You're going to take the 5mm and you are going to remove the stem cap. And then you're just going to take this piece off and flip it over. And then you want to make sure that everything is tight here, or else you get that jiggling in the handlebars. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. You might want to look from the top. Make sure it's straight with the frame. It's still going to slide around because I need to tighten the side bolts. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten the side bolts on the stem. Now moving up here with the 4mm, I'm going to remove the stem cap. You're going to see there is a torque spec on here. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can simply just tighten the bolts. I usually go about a quarter turn past tight. All right, when you bring up the handlebars, make sure the cables are towards the front, and then you're going to see these little grooves here on the handlebars. You're going to line it up with the stem, and then you're going to rotate it around and reinstall the stem cap like this. This is where it would help to have a friend, but you could do it, just get two of the bolts started. Want to evenly tighten the bolts top and bottom. Then I can put the other two opposite ones in now that it's secured. I'll probably have to come back and adjust the position for my liking once I get the front wheel on and final assembly. I'll do that when I get the screen in the right position also. Time to install the front tire. This tire came, as you can see, it's definitely a little soft, so I'm going to go ahead and add the air to it using the pump. Now just take notice not to overinflate these tires, because I've overinflated them and then I ended up popping the tube. So go ahead, put the air in that. You can definitely tell it's firm. If you have an air gauge, you'll want to check that pressure. Okay, that's at about 18 psi. I can go probably another 5 psi. I don't like to go all the way to 30. I recommend doing about 25 psi, but that's good enough to get started. Go ahead and put this cap back on. What I'm going to do is remove the nut on each side of the axle, and you're going to take note that there is a washer on here that has a little tab. So each side has a nut and a washer with a little tab. That's a lock tab. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. You're going to make sure that your brake rotor is on the side with the brake caliper, and then make sure that you reach in here, pull this little plastic tab out of the brake caliper. You're going to need the wrenches that say 14-15. You're going to use the 15 millimeter side to tighten the nuts once you get the wheel installed. Now I'm going to lift up the bike, and I'm going to position dropouts on there. Make sure that the rotor aligns on this side, the brake caliper. And now that I have the wheel through the dropouts, I'm going to go ahead and install that washer with a tab. That's going to go right here and lock into the hole on the bottom of the fork. And then I'm going to put on the nut. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to put that washer with the tab on there, and then put the nut on. And then obviously this would be nice if I had someone be able to hold the bike, but I could hold it with my legs. And then I'm going to grab the nut on each side, put the 15 millimeter wrench, go ahead and tighten this down. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Inside the toolkit is these little rubber caps. They go on the front axle. You don't have to install them, but it's better than looking at the nut here, and then you could just simply tap them on to the front wheel like that. All right, we have the kickstand here. You're going to see that there is 10 millimeter nuts on the back. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove those 10 millimeter nuts. And then what I'm going to do is put the kickstand down here on the mount and install the nuts on the back side. Tighten it down from the front, and then you also need to use the 10 millimeter wrench to tighten the back down. This segment, we're going to install this front fender and the headlight. You're going to need the 5 millimeter T, the 4 millimeter hex key, and you're also going to need the wrench that has the 10 millimeter on it. And then what we're going to do is first remove the fasteners on the top of the shock stanchion, and then use the 4 millimeter to remove the lower supports. There's one on each side. I'm going to slide the fender in from the back. I might need to turn it a little bit to get it to go through. And then I'm going to install the bolt on the top with the nut on the back. Just going to put that on finger tight, and then I'll install the side supports so everything moves freely. And the top, now you can move the fender up and down a little bit for your liking. I'm going to hit it about middle of the road. I'm going to put the 10 millimeter wrench on the back, and then I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down with the 5 millimeter hex. Get that position the way I wanted. And tighten that down. Then just kind of align it to your liking. Now it's time for the headlight. You're going to need the same 5 millimeter and 10 millimeter wrench on the back. Remove the fasteners. These rubber bumpers are here to protect the shock from crashing into the frame, especially with the headlight. It will leave marks on it. So you can determine, do you want to mount the headlight high or do you want to mount it low? I like to do it high so that I can adjust it while I'm riding. So I'm going to go ahead and install the headlight. I put this plastic piece in here, and then I'm going to wrap it around the shock. Then I'm going to put this little metal clamp piece. I'm going to install it. So I got that side started. I'm going to go ahead and install the other side. I'm going to reach it around like this. Put that plastic piece. Then I'm going to take this metal bracket, slide it in the outer tab on the back, and then install my fasteners. All right, I have that started. Get the headlight position where I wanted. I like it up towards the top. So I'm going to go ahead and put it there. Just so you can see it, I'm going to put the 10mm wrench in here like this. And then I have my 5mm hex here. Just going to tighten this down. There we have it. I'm going to go ahead, move over and do the other side. Okay, I got the headlight on. Now, one thing you want to make sure that you do is you want to connect the headlight. And then down here, you'll see there's a cable here that's blue, and then we'll just match up those colors and leave that the way it is. I could route this actually below this. I think I like it down like this better. And then you can see that the arrows line up. There we have it. That's much better. The bike has a nice bright daytime running light, and then when you turn on the headlight, it gets even brighter. But the daytime running light is for visibility. For some reason, this connection was separated. I'm going to go ahead and connect that. The orange, they're color coded, so they're foolproof. In this segment, we're going to install the pedals. You can see there's an R on this pedal and L on that one. So we're going to put on the right side pedal. You're going to use the 15mm wrench, and it tells you which way to spin the threads. We're going to move over here to the left side and put the left pedal on. So moving up here to the cockpit, I'm going to go ahead and secure the screen. It does have this reflector here. Not a big fan of that, so I'm going to remove that reflector. Some places this may be mandatory, but I'm going to go ahead, remove that reflector, put the screen where I think it should be, and then using the smallest T-handle hex tool, 3mm, I'm going to go ahead and secure the bolts here. There's still some play in here, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and secure the screen. On the side here, there's some bolts. You can tighten those down on each side. To install the battery, you can slide it in the frame like this. You're going to slide it up and then down. It hooks in. Now, it'll remain in the frame, but it could bounce out if you don't use the key to lock it in the frame. My suggestion is leave one of these keys at home and take one with you. That way, if you lose one of the keys, you have your spare one at home. With the battery installed, we're going to power on the bike using the power button here between the plus and minus. Hold it for 2 or 3 seconds. You're going to see the screen comes on. It's a nice, colorful screen, easy to read. You hit the plus button, you'll increase the pedal assist mode to 5, minus goes down to slow your speed down. So pedal assist mode 5, this is the half twist throttle. Let's see what the top speed will be. That's 30 miles per hour, or about 48 kilometers. Now that's with no load on it. So with load and a rider on it, I'd anticipate 28 miles per hour. Over here, you have the headlight. You have directionals. They're only in the rear. And then you do have a horn that's built into the headlight. This is the 7-speed shifter. You hit the thumb to go up, and then you shift this to go down. And that allows you to change your pedaling to be harder or easier. You have hydraulic brakes, both front and rear. One additional note with this display, it can be linked using the app from the app stores, Google or Apple, and then you can lock your bike or restrict some of the settings on the app. So if you want to change the display to kilometers per hour, what you're going to do is hold the plus and minus button for about 3 seconds, and then you'll come into this menu. It's P01 on the bottom, and it says 01 up here. You're going to hit the plus button. It goes to 00, and then just hold the plus and minus button down. It comes back to the main menu. Now it's in kilometers per hour, and when I go to the top speed, you'll see it's at 48 kilometers per hour. So that concludes our video. I hope that you liked this video. Subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments, and thanks for watching.